the other major headline out of Texas, where today Governor Greg Abbott signed a bill into law, requiring that the Ten Commandments be posted in every public school classroom. A similar law in the state of Louisiana was struck down by a federal judge today, signaling an impending legal battle between the state and courts. Supporters say the Ten Commandments are a part of the foundation of America and should be displayed for all to learn, but opponents say their posting infringes on the religious freedoms of others. There are nearly 6 million students enrolled in public schools all across Texas.
Aktor Matthew McConaughey yang dikenal dekat dengan politik Texas setuju dan mendukung kebijakan tersebut. Dia berpendapat itu baik meningkatkan karakter siswa dan 10 perintah itu tidak bertentangan dengan agama lain. Joe Rogan dalam salah satu podcastnya dengan Matthew tidak setuju dengan Matthew.
What do you think about that?
I don't like it.
Why?
Well, I think the Ten Commandments are very interesting. I think mandating it in classrooms in public schools, the problem with that is, like, what about the Muslims? What about the Buddhists? What about the Hindus? What about all the other religions that exist? Like, and you could say,
does
this is a Christian society.
Those, though? Can it say,
okay, well, then you're going to have a wall of religious texts in your high school.
And I'm curious. Since Christian society, 10 Commandments, but we have 10 minutes where everyone can take 10 minutes to bow to Allah, to whatever your religion is. If you care to partake or not, there's no exclusion about what can be a spiritual time of worship in these 10 minutes. But in our classroom in America, we're going to have the 10 Commandments. Now, my question then goes to this. Is there anyone in the 10 Commandments that you or anyone disagrees with? Or is your problem that it can be considered an oppressive author?
James Tallarico explained it to me. He's a Texas representative who's also in seminary. He's a very religious man, and he opposes it. And he's a Democrat. And he said essentially there's two very wealthy men who are they're Christian fundamentalists, where they want to replace all the funding for public schools and put in private Christian. They want a theocracy in Texas, essentially. So he was explaining that this is like a step on the way towards that he finds would actually, in his belief, repel people from Christianity. Instead of bring them to him by forcing this in the classrooms, forcing in your face, you'll actually cause more young people to reject Christianity. I don't know if he's correct or not.
But he's saying maybe I don't have a problem with this. I do have a problem with this is a beginning of an overcompensation.
No, he has a problem with it being in classes. He does not agree with it at all. And he's a very religious man.
Right.
Very religious man, like a great Christian.
Right.
And he thinks that this is how you're going to repel people away from Christianity. If we really want to get more people to become Christian, the way to do that is to first of all to have open arms and accept people in. And if you want to have some classes in schools where you teach people about the benefits of the Bible and what the overall message is and what Jesus was trying to say, and if you just follow what Jesus said, no one would disagree if you treat everyone as if it's your brother. You know, if you live your life the way Jesus asked everyone, that's a way better way to live life. Like, you could, if you want to teach that,
that's a selfish way to live life.
But
in the way that we were defining selfish.
That also want to live a good life, but they want to do it through Islam? What about people that also want to live a good life, but they want to do it through whatever, name it? You're going to have Mormons and all kinds of different sects. Like, okay, that's why you want to separate church and state.
Okay.
And I think if you have publicly funded schools, keep religion out of them. That's what I think. Because otherwise you have too many possible religions. Like, you're going to be religiously bigoted if you teach only one. If you're only, like, you think people would be cool if they had entire public school systems where everybody just taught Islam? Could you imagine if a full city, like every public school, just people would be up in arms. Well, I think that's similar response to people who are not Christians, who see Christianity being imposed on public schools. They probably have the same feeling. You know, like if you're a Muslim and you're supposed to send your kids to school and they're shoving Christianity in his face, you'd probably feel the same way as if you were a Christian and your school district had been taken over by Islam. You're like, Jesus Christ, everybody has to vow 5 times a day.
I hear you. I do also, though, think there could be, what if there were tenets on the wall of each religion that we pull the author off for a minute? Right. This is my hang up is that we go to the problem. Most people go to the problem of that, not with your argument. They go to the problem with it because of the author. G-O-D. Hey, man. So we go to the author instead of the content. What I'm saying, when you look at the commandments, is there anything that anyone out there is going like, I disagree with that one? Let's
pull up the 10 Commandments, Jamie. I haven't read them in a while.
10 firman Tuhan, Keluaran 20 ayat 1 sampai 17. Akulah Tuhan Allahmu yang membawa engkau keluar dari tanah Mesir, dari tempat perbudakan. Jangan ada padamu Allah lain di hadapanku. Jangan membuat bagimu patung yang menyerupai apapun yang ada di langit di atas, atau yang ada di bumi di bawah, atau yang ada di dalam air di bawah bumi. Jangan sujud menyembah kepadanya atau beribadah kepadanya. Sebab aku Tuhan Allahmu adalah Allah yang cemburu, yang membalaskan kesalahan bapa kepada anak-anaknya, kepada keturunan yang ketiga dan keempat dari orang-orang yang membenci aku. Jangan menyebut nama Tuhan Allahmu dengan sembarangan, sebab Tuhan akan memandang bersalah orang yang menyebut namanya dengan sembarangan. Ingatlah dan kuduskanlah hari Sabat. Hormatilah ayahmu dan ibumu, supaya lanjut umurmu di tanah yang diberikan Tuhan Allahmu kepadamu. Jangan membunuh, jangan berzina, jangan mencuri, jangan mengucapkan saksi dusta tentang sesamamu. Jangan mengingini rumah sesamamu. Jangan mengingini istrinya atau hambanya laki-laki atau hambanya perempuan, atau lembunya atau keledainya, atau apapun yang dipunyai sesamamu.
To be completely honest, both Matthew McConaughey and Joe Rogan made some good points here. As Muslims, we also believe in the values and teachings found in the 10 Commandments, as these principles are reflected in our own scriptures. Except instead of observing the Sabbath, Muslims observe Jummah, the congregational prayer held on Fridays. Moses, peace be upon him, is also a recognized prophet in Islam. In fact, he's the most mentioned prophet in the Holy Quran. Additionally, I would say the first commandment, to worship God alone, from the Old Testament actually clashes with the modern Christian Trinity concept of a 3-part God, but I digress. Joe made the point that if the 10 Commandments were made mandatory in public schools in the West, it may alienate Muslims and people of other faiths. As I said, as Muslims, we would have no issues with this. Matthew came back with some great suggestions in response, as in every faith group would have the option to pray or not to pray according to their beliefs, and that the core tenets of all religions could be presented alongside the 10 Commandments. I would feel a lot more comfortable sending my kids to a school like this rather than the secular schools we have in the West that promote modern ideologies that are harmful to children. I also like Joe's suggestion regarding having optional classes for youngsters to learn about different religions, as I feel this would go a long way to promoting tolerance and respect between the faiths. Joe was also right when he said if people were to live by the original message of Jesus, peace be upon him, who is also a prophet in Islam as well as the Messiah, it would benefit society immensely. And I agree, as long as Christian methods of worship are not imposed and Muslims are free to worship as per our faith, it's a win-win. I appreciate Joe for considering Muslims during this conversation, and also Matthew for making adjustments to accommodate us in his suggestions. However, I think they would be pleasantly surprised to learn that Islam incorporates the 10 Commandments just as Christianity and Judaism do. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, and remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.